Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Alchemy Fairy Show. My name is Danielle Green, and I am the Alchemy Fairy, your guide in this transformation space where we're turning personality into power, challenges into clarity, and dreams into your everyday reality. Each week, we're going to journey together, uncovering the gifts that are already inside of you, aligning your life with purpose, stepping into the magic of your truest self. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin the alchemy. Starting with, what is alchemy? What does that mean? So alchemy in the original sense is taking different metals and transmuting them into gold. It's a type of pseudoscience that we're not going to get super heavy into, but I like the concept of alchemy of transformation, right? There are certain points in our life where we have to transform to survive. Then there's other points in our life where we transform in order to thrive. So we're going to be spending more time focusing on the latter. And how do we get there? How do we go from survival into thrive? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And so today we're looking at the hidden glow inside of us and looking at maybe what have we taken on unconsciously or consciously that's dulled our hidden glow, and how can we get it back? And then what about that feels like a temporary hardship or challenge, but we can take that energy and we're going to look at regenerating from it, how to recover from that energy. Okay. Letting go of what no longer serves you. So let's talk more about that. So when you think about what no longer serves you, look at what you might be doing that maybe you didn't check in with yourself and say, do I really want to do this? Maybe you're just blowing through life and just trying to get things done, right? Trying to get things done, trying to be efficient, trying to not create pause because pause feels initially like inefficiency or like time wasting, but really there's power in the pause. There's power in connecting with your soul's purpose. Each time you make a decision, especially if they're big life decisions or even small ones, and seeing, what do I really want? What do I really need in this moment? Okay, so the hidden glow is all about that. The hidden glow is like your soul's energy. I think of it like inside of us, we have this whole hearth, this huge fire inside of us, right? And depending on how often you take care of yourself, how often you're able to recharge, you're able to regenerate that fire, right? Some people feel like the fire gets snuffed out because they're not taking care of their inner needs, and they're not minding the flame, for lack of a better word, right? Like they're not doing what feeds them energy, and they're letting too many people take their fire, okay? And it's okay to give, but we have to prioritize as creators, as caregivers, as workers, as, aspiring people, or maybe even if you're in the woods, even if you're in the wilderness and it's not even work related, right? You still have to take time to take care of yourself, to say, what do I need? I need food, I need shelter, I need comfort, and then go from there, right? So, what does that look like every day? And each day, I want you to think about the way you process things in your life. For me, it's easiest to consider this as like we have window browsers open in our brain. And so some people have like two browsers open. They're not doing a whole lot and that works for them. No judgment, right? But some people have like 45 or 50 window browsers open and they're mentally like frying their brain because their server size can't handle 45 open constantly. Maybe 45 was open at a time was okay short term, but they're not able to keep that up long term. So they start burning out, right? So I want you to think about what is living in your brain rent free that shouldn't be there anymore because it doesn't necessarily serve you. Okay. So thinking about if it's conflict over something that happened yesterday or something that happened 3 years ago, and if it's still kind of living in your head and you're cycling through it, or maybe you have an event coming up or a meeting, or you're spending time with someone and you worry over something that may happen or may not happen when you meet up with that person. That worry has its own browser, right? And worrying is about things that have not happened yet. So it's kind of taking up your mental bandwidth that maybe you would need for meal prepping. Meal prepping would serve you better than spinning your wheels on something that maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen, right? Maybe you're an overthinker, maybe you're an overanalyzer. I'm a recovering overthinker, right? So sometimes when we're overthinkers, we feel like justified in constantly thinking about certain things, right? We're like, oh, well, it makes sense for me to think about this because I'm strategizing and I'm planning, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, right? In the brain. But what ends up happening is, yes, you've done that, but typically we surpass that to where we're like on a loop, right? And so each cycle of the loop that we get stuck in is like taking energy and more energy and more energy that we don't need to give it. One loop is sufficient. So if you're an overanalyzer, if you're an overthinker, that's okay. It is a safe space here. We do not judge. But one loop is enough. Okay. Put the rest to rest. Focus on things that will serve you in the now. Like, for example, things that will refuel you are taking care of tomorrow you, right? So like if you know tomorrow you're going to be running around all day, maybe you need to pack a water bottle overnight for yourself. Put that in the fridge. That tomorrow you will thank you, because that's how we can take care of ourselves. Because maybe you have to wake up early and maybe you're not a morning person, you'll forget. But if you can do that tonight, then tomorrow you've already taken better care of yourself. So that closes out a web browser of worry. Oh, I've already planned breakfast. I've already planned water. I already have that set up for myself, right? So these are things we can do where it takes up a temporary web browser in our brain. We're supporting tomorrow. We're removing the worry. And that is energy that serves us. When we're taking time to reflect on, what do I need? What do I want? What's going to serve me in the future? And like, how can I support future me and set him or her up for success, or they or them, right? How can you set yourself up for success tomorrow? That's positive energy that's going to help your inner glow, right? It's going to help bring back your sparkle. If you know that you have to pick out an outfit, then maybe do that the night before. Like, there's little steps you can take, right? So it's not all just night prep. Sometimes it's commitments. Sometimes when someone says, hey, can you do this for me? If it's work, family, friends, can you show up to this thing for us? Can you join us at this thing? Maybe you need to start pausing and checking in with yourself and saying, does that resonate with me? Does that feel like somewhere I want to be? Does that feel like something that's going to be positive for myself, for the family, for the friends? Do I want to engage in it, right? And so we're taking time to reflect and say, is this a positive thing for me? And if it is, great, do it, right? Or if you know that, well, those events normally take 3 hours and I really only have an hour and a half, then acknowledging and saying, hey, yes, I'd love to go and be there and join you, but I'll have to leave it an hour and a half in. You're still able to attend. I'm not saying blow off everything, everybody, right? We're not saying do drastic changes. These are just very small tweaks, very small ways where you can show up for yourself and show up for your needs and make sure that you're still being heard and felt and taken care of, okay? Like the inner child of you is still being cared for. So there's small things you can do. So checking in is another one. And then closing out some of the web browsers in your brain that don't serve you. And sometimes that's trauma. Sometimes, and I'm not a licensed mental health counselor. I'm not a medical anything. This is just me saying from my own thoughts, feelings, and experiences, unaffiliated with anybody else except for the Alchemy Fairy. So basically, sometimes we have trauma running in the background. And I recently heard this brilliant podcast. And I'll have to find her and tag her in, or maybe it was a reel. Anyway, somebody said, ask your inner child, whose energy are you holding, right? Who, when you were a child, pushed their energy onto you, and let it go. Put it down. Take it, think of it in a laundry basket, and just putting it on the floor, saying, I release this in love and light. This no longer serves me. This is not mine to carry. And like for me, that was a lot of my mom's energy growing up. It was a lot of my mom's energy. Her pain, her rage, her trauma, her anger. She pushed that onto us as kids, right? So taking that and saying, hey, you know what? With love in my heart, I release you. I speak healing over you. I speak clarity. I speak peace over you and harmony over you. But this is not mine, right? And reclaiming your energy in that way, because sometimes we're we're doing something for so long, we're holding that basket for so long, we don't even know it's in our hands anymore, right? And that also takes up mental bandwidth. And I tell you, the rush of energy that I felt in the days after just setting down the basket of emotions, I was able to get so much done. My level of productivity shot through the roof. I had to check in with myself and say, am I going to burn out from this? But no, the truth is that I had so many web browsers open associated to those thoughts, feelings, behavior patterns that I was like, close, 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 close. Those are not mine. So this is mine. So taking control back over what is your energy? What is your purpose? And that's kind of heavy, right? So take time to think about that. That's another way. If you're open to it, if you want to do inner child work, highly recommend. 10 out of 10 stars. Every time I do a little bit more, I feel phenomenal. But there's that's one of many ways to get your spark back, to get your shine back, right? To spread a little bit of your magic with people who deserve it, or maybe people who really need it if you want to. So sometimes we unconsciously do things, and that could be people pleasing tendencies. It could be other behaviors where you're like, yeah, sure, I'll just do it. Or it's easier if I do it, right? There's a lot of us who have like hyper independence, who have very strong personalities and who are amazing at a million things, right? You can be amazing at a million things and still find a way to delegate. Okay? And keep your peace. And you say, you know what? I do that amazing, but somebody else needs to learn, and I want to pass the torch to them with love and respect, because I need to protect my energy, because later I know that so-and-so is going to need that energy for me. Maybe it's me, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a child or a partner, right? And I want to protect that energy. So I'm going to learn how to delegate so that I can better serve my loved ones, right? So it's learning about, you have a finite amount of energy per day, right? And so if you give too much, then your sparkle, it gets faded, right? You're giving away too much. You're depleting yourself. You're not refilling your cup, your inner cup, right? There's also the spoon theory that talks about, like, some people they start the day with 20 mental spoons, and it's basically your capacity to do or process or complete things. And that might be getting ready. Maybe getting ready is 2 spoons for you, but for someone else who really struggles in the morning, maybe it's 10 spoons for them. And they only had 15, right? And they spent 10 getting ready. And they need to save their 5 spoons left for going through the workday, coming home, preparing dinner, getting ready, closing out the day, right? So their ability and capacity is going to look very different from somebody who has maybe 20, 25 spoons or 30 spoons starting the day. So just acknowledging, ask yourself, how many spoons do I feel like I have? And maybe it varies from day to day, right? Because sometimes we have those other web browsers open, and those take spoons too. If we're going to layer our metaphors here, right? So sometimes the web browsers, they steal spoons from us. They're like spoon thieves, right? But then sometimes we're like, oh no, I need extra spoons because I have something hard to do. It's either hard emotionally or mentally. Maybe it's just draining or physically too. And you want to save spoons for that. Well, you have to draw a boundary, because then if you don't have a boundary, then you're giving away too many spoons, and maybe you won't be able to complete it to the best of your ability, right? Which could hurt you, or could, create challenges for somebody else that are unintended. And boundaries are not really saying no. If you haven't heard this before, the best way I've heard a boundary described, it's like putting up a fence. And when you put up the fence, you're showing someone, here's the gate to the fence. I'm not saying you can't come in. I'm just saying I need you to use the gate. So you show them where the gate is. Hey, I function this way. This is how you can show love to me, by walking through the gate. Not trampling my gardens, not jumping the fence, not burning the fence down, not bulldozing over the fence. Just use the gate. Don't be a heathen. Just use the gate, right? That's what a boundary is. It's just showing someone how to love you better. So for all of my people pleasers, and for all my people who are overthinkers and struggling and all these things, I just want to impart that wisdom that I took a long time to absorb, is that it's just showing someone where the door is to the fence. It's just the gate, right? So think of the things that are no longer serving you. Think of how you can better serve you, how you can refill your cup, right? Because if you can't fill your cup, then you're at risk of not being able to help anybody else the way that you want to, right? Because I think all of us come from, honestly, the best intentions a lot of times. Like, we mean well, we try to do well, right? We're doing our best out here. I don't think anyone's genuinely like, "Meh," curmudgeon. But remembering that you have to refill your cup, not once a month, every day. It needs to be refilled every day. We have this whole burnout culture because we're afraid to refill our cup or to say, hey, my cup is empty. It's bone dry. My cup has not seen nourishment or replenishment in ages. And that somehow makes us weak or less than. And that's not true. Refilling your cup is how you give to others, is how you can be of service to others. So this is just your gentle reminder that when you have your inner hearth and the fire is strong and you're working on your glow and you want to share a little bit of your magic with others, that's how you keep the magic there, right? That's how you don't run out. People feel like they run out of things and they hit walls, and it's because they've gone too far too fast. And it shouldn't be. Productivity should not be how much you can do while like destroying yourself. That should not be productivity, right? Productivity should be how much can I do effectively without completely draining my battery to like a dead end. That's how you should be thinking about productivity. Like, I want to give as much of me, the best version of me, the best that I can, up to the point where I am now overexerting. Because when we're overexerting, that should be your pause point, your check-in point. Am I aware that I'm overgiving? Am I aware that I've done maybe a little bit too much, a little too soon, a little too fast, right? And then think about your needs. So like, if you need to pace those out to make sure that your inner magic stays strong, that you can still be authentically you and showing up for yourself, then that's how you can approach it. It's another tactic and technique, right? So just looking at, what are you giving your energy and emotions? What's taking time out of your day, taking time from your family, right? And then how can you still achieve your goals, still conquer whatever you need to conquer during the day and be amazing and be this gorgeous, beautiful soul that I know that you are? And then how do you do that and protect that, right? Because that's the beauty, is we want to be able to protect the beauty in ourselves so that when we don't share the pain, the viciousness, the hurt, the fatigue, right? Instead, we're sharing that beautiful light. We're giving someone positive pieces of our heart, pieces of our love and care, right? Platonic love, not necessarily romantic love. Just showing someone genuinely, hey, I'm here for you, and being able to hold space with them. That's how you can keep your glow strong. And if it is hidden, you can make it shine a little bit brighter for other people. So hopefully that helps. If that sparked any thought in you, any inspiration in you, I hope you share it with someone who needs a little bit of light. You're more powerful than you know. Your magic is real. Never forget that. Until next time, stay aligned, stay enchanted, and keep living your alchemy.